Hello 8th graders and happy Tuesday. Today you are going to continue on your journey during Carbon Week to look at the threats from carbon. So yesterday you got an introduction briefly to some of the ways in which carbon is useful to our society or useful to living organisms. Today we're going to look at all of the different ways that carbon can be dangerous and basically hurt us. So what you're going to be doing during this video is just paying close attention to all of the steps that you need to follow through on today. And remember that everything that you're doing today is going to be eventually helping you on your brochure for Friday. So this is the worksheet that you should have. It's the one that I need you to be following along with as you watch this video. You're going to be assigned to a particular type of threat. So either black carbon, ocean acidification, rainforest depletion, or rising sea levels. Whichever one you're assigned to, you're basically going to have the same instructions for your reading as everyone else. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be annotating a certain article about your assigned threat, and then you're going to be reporting back to the rest of your team. So the first thing that you're going to do is skim your article and look at the different pictures and headings to find out if you can make any predictions about this article. So all of your bias goes right here in the first box. Everything that you can get from the pictures and headings. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to start the actual annotating process. So for this annotation, we're going to do something that you don't usually do in my class. There are going to be 3 different things that you're looking for within this article. So 1, 2, and 3 different things. You're looking for things you already knew. You're looking for vocabulary you don't know. And then this is the most important one, number 3. You're going to be looking for key information. The way that I'd like you to annotate today is on your article. You're going to write on it. You're going to be writing using different symbols. So for anything that you already knew, I'd like you to use whatever symbol you want, but I would use like a smiley face. So everything where I'm reading something I already knew about, I'd put a smiley face next to it. For vocabulary you don't know yet, you need to invent another symbol, but I would use like a question mark. I'll write that next to things. And then key information, I like the star. I'm going to go with a star. So as you're reading along, let's say for example you are in the black carbon group. The first part of your article looks like this. So for black carbon, let's say that as you're reading along, you're reading about some light absorbing component, and it's really interesting and fascinating, and you're like, well, I don't know what a light absorbing component means, so maybe that's a question mark. And then as you're reading along and say, oh, look, it's talking about fossil fuels, I know what that is, so smiley face next to that one. And then as you're reading along, you come across some other major things where you're like, oh, this thing about black carbon being a major component of soot. That sounds pretty useful for my group in deciding if carbon is dangerous. That's going to be some key information. As you're going along, one of the things that you're going to need to be looking out for is the most important paragraph and the most important sentence in that paragraph. So let's say that you think that this second paragraph is the most important out of this entire article. And within that, you think that the very first sentence is the most important. You're going to need to keep track of that for when you're making an argument to your team about what black carbon is and whether or not it's more or less dangerous than the rest of the things that you're learning about today. So back on your worksheet, you're going to be find the paragraph. That's where you're going to put like paragraph 3. And then you're going to select the most important sentence, and you're actually going to quote that sentence. So whatever it said in the article, quote it right there, so that when you go back to your group, you can read right off of here. Then the next part is, how does your topic relate to the carbon cycle? So for carbon cycle, that's what you did yesterday. So this is where you're going to talk about maybe how it has something to do with carbon uptake, or maybe it has something to do with living organisms, or maybe it has something to do with how carbon in the atmosphere, or anything like that. This is where you're going to relate it to yesterday. And then number 5 should be people be concerned. So this is where you're going to talk about how threatening. And your ultimate job today is to look through all of these 4 different threats from carbon, and they all have their own problems, but which one is the most threatening? Like if we're going to take action as a society, which one do we need to be the most concerned about? Good luck.